What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have the truth about our Indian Army. So we are going to be diving into some Indian Army facts. However, before we can do that, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up. And if you would like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you got to do is smash that join button. Let's see what we got here.
जी सर जी सर जी सर आपको एंड ऑफ द डे पे मिल जाएगा सर बिल्कुल यस सर दिस बॉस नो हे यू नो आई वर्क 8 आवर्स अ डे सिर्फ सैटरडे और संडे ऑफ मिलता है एक हफ्ते की छुट्टी पे जाना चाहता था उसके लिए भी बॉस की अभी परमिशन चाहिए मुझे मैन आई फील लाइक आई हैव द हार्डेस्ट जॉब इन द वर्ल्ड वन सेक या श्योर
Yes, sir.
Major Anand, your vacation has been cut short. I need you at the HQ at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, sharp.
On my way, sir. Jai Hind.
Nothing but the utmost respect, and that's how that's handled. Yeah, this man, I'm like, that sounds like an American 9 to 5. You get weekends off. You got to ask your boss for permission. That sounds like a regular job. Like he got to. How you just gonna say that's all the details we got? You say that's the hardest job, and then this man get a call. Hey, your vacation's been cut short. Need you at 9 a.m. sharp. Yes, sir. On my way, sir.
They stand tall and proud, the guardians of our nation, the Indian Army soldier, the protector of our people. They leave behind the comfort of their homes just to defend ours.
Yes.
And we must never forget their sacrifice. Remember that a nation's currency and infrastructure may be powerful, but they're only as strong as the army that protects them.
Completely
In today's
agree
video,
with that.
we will give you some key insights into the backstage of the world's second largest army, our Indian Army. As India rises in state,
I absolutely agree. And that's why, first and foremost, I pay the utmost respect to anyone who has served, no matter what country you are in. To serve for your country is one of the most admirable, one of the most selfless things that you can do. Because, like you said, you're sacrificing from being in the comfort of your home. You're sacrificing time with your family to go and serve so that people can continue to have their freedom, so that people can continue to have their comfort and spend that time with their families. And that's the most selfless thing. Like, shout out to everybody who serves. Like, literally, no matter what country that you serve in, you literally have my utmost respect.
nature,
Unless you're a Nazi, then I never respected any of them.
economically and technologically towards a more eminent position in the region and the world, it has to concurrently build upon its military power to thwart the threats and challenges that it's likely to face along the way from our potential adversaries. India has a land frontier of 15,200 kilometers and a coastline of 7,500 kilometers and shares borders with around 7 countries. India's threats,
Nice.
though,
Was it
primarily come
7?
from the historically inherited territorial disputes involving the two nuclear-armed neighbors, China and Pakistan, over which we have already fought 5 wars since independence. The
That's
Indian
crazy.
Armed Forces are made up of the Indian Army, Indian Navy and Indian Air Force. The Indian Army is the largest branch of the armed forces and is responsible for protecting the country's land borders. The Indian Navy is responsible for protecting the country's maritime borders and maintaining control of the country's coastal waters. The Indian Air Force is responsible for maintaining air superiority and providing air support to other branches of the armed forces. There are
Gotcha.
also other entities that fall under Central Armed Police Forces like BSF, ITBP, but today we are only throwing light on Indian Armed Forces. According to
Love
the
that.
Global Firepower Annual Defense Report 2022, India's military is the 4th most powerful
That's
out of
crazy.
140 countries across the world. The
Number 4 most powerful is literally crazy. Like, out of over 140 countries, the most powerful countries in the world, she said, they're sitting at number 4, only behind the U.S., China, and Russia. Those are only 3 countries with more powerful armies.
US occupies the top slot with the power index score of 0.045. Russia backs the second rank with a score of 0.0501, followed by China and India at 0.0979. This global firepower index uses over 50 factors including manpower, weapon diversity to calculate a country's potential war-making capabilities. Let's start with manpower, which is one key aspect of India's military strength. Next is the on-ground
Got a
forces.
lot of it.
In the 2022 rankings, India is placed in the top 5 in 2 categories under the land forces category, specifically combat tank fleet size and towed artillery. In the latter, India ranks 3rd after Russia and South Korea, while China and the US rank 10th and 12th respectively.
Dang!
India also has the 5th largest tank fleet. However, it lags behind when it comes to the more modern self-propelled artillery systems, ranking 37th, and it has also been overtaken by countries like Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, Ukraine, and some European nations. So, India has around 100 such systems, China has 4,120, and Russia has the largest fleet with 6,574. The Indian Army currently has 93 modernization projects in progress at various stages in the procurement process, with a total value of $18.4 billion as per the latest figures. Coming to naval
And then that military budget only is going to continue to go up. I imagine they'll be able to spend as the economy grows, as people start making more money, people start being able to pay more taxes, government will make more money, military gets more money to spend, military strength continues to grow, and there's no telling where India is going to be at the next 10 to 20 years, the military strength that India is going to have. Because there's no telling where India's economy is just right now on a very, very quick progression rate. And so it'll be crazy to see the next 10, 20 years what it's going to look like.
forces, India has the 7th largest naval fleet among the 140 nations considered by GFP, with 295 warships and submarines in total, while China tops the chart with 777.
That's
Although
crazy.
a smaller
God
percentage of India's
dang.
military personnel are actively serving compared to other countries like China and America, India has a large paramilitary force and reserve military personnel that can be called into service at any given moment.
Hey soldier, any last words? Back up.
Oh. Yeah, put it down. It's
This
a wrap.
accounts for 36.8 lakh personnel, which is 3 times the comparative figure for China. In terms of total available military personnel, India boasts a headcount of 51 lakh people, far
China?
ahead of China's 31
Oh
lakh.
my God.
Coming to Air Force,
That's a humongous
India has
difference.
the 4th largest Air Force in the world, but its aging fleet has been a point of concern. The GFP report shows a large gap between India and the top 3 countries when it comes to air power. In terms of total air fleet strength, the US is more than 6 times bigger than India, and the Russian
Yeah.
fleet size is nearly 2 times larger. While
I would think that's where the U.S.'s main advantages would be, and I do believe like air strength is probably the number 1 strength you could have like when going to war. Your air strength is huge, but it sounds like India has personnel that's absolutely unmatched. Like, it's crazy to think how big they are and then how much like entire military personnel they got with active serving and with people they can call to serve at any point. It's insane to think how many they have. But it sounds like a lot of equipment, I guess, in India just needs to be modernized. From hearing her talk, like, it's like equipment just needs to get up to date, and then more equipment in these forces.
overall gap with China is comparatively much narrower, India lags behind when it comes to specialized aircraft and helicopters. For example, in terms of attack helicopters, which are a very important component in providing fire support against armored vehicles, China has 281 such helicopters, whereas India only has 37. However, there's some good news. India's naval fleet is rapidly expanding and already fares well in rankings for specialized vessels. For example, India ranks 4th, 5th, and 6th in the categories of corvettes, multi-role frigates, and destroyers destroyers respectively. India's second aircraft carrier, the first Indian-Genesis one called Vikrant, is scheduled to be inducted into the Indian Navy, while China is currently readying to launch its third one. On the downside though, India
right
does
there.
not own a single countermine warfare ship and lags behind not just the developed nations but also neighbors, Bangladesh, which has 5 such vessels, and
Oh, wow.
Pakistan, which has 3. As our country rises economically and technologically, it has to keep building its military prowess.
100%.
In the last decade,
100%.
the defense budget has grown at an annual average rate of 9%. But
That's
this increase
big.
is barely keeping up with the inflation and
Oh.
the demands of the 3 services. The thing
Dang.
is, people think this
I would think 9% a yearly is like, to me, that's like a big percentage of raise in spending. But I guess I guess I don't necessarily know the inflation and then the needs. It sounds like from what she said, the needs of the 3 services like are a lot because you have so much personnel, and then your equipment's. It sounds like the equipment's not very up to date, except for the Navy. It sounds like the Navy's doing very well. But and then like you just need more equipment. Even if it is modern and up to date, there's more equipment needed.
This rise of Indian armed forces is because of the Indian government alone, but it is actually an effort that is made by all parties, including armed forces, government, people, and even companies. For example, companies like
R.I.P. to Tata, man. An incredible man, incredible.
Mahindra, who is one of the oldest automobile companies and famous for their collaboration with the Indian Armed Forces. Mahindra's growth over the years has truly been nothing short of amazing. They've gone from creating SUVs that were so powerful that the Indian Army used them to now being focused on creating EVs for the common Indian man. They recently launched the new EV XUV 400, and not only is it incredibly fast, it can go from 0 to 100 km per hour in 8.3 seconds,
God
but
dang.
it also focuses on one thing that usually gets a lot of people worried, which is the range. Their range is 456 kilometers on one full charge.
God
They have truly
dang.
produced a best-in-class car
That's a
with
long way to
best-in-class
go on one
torque,
charge.
cabin, boot space, and best-in-industry dust and waterproof battery pack and motor. If you're interested, the e-SUV bookings open on 26 January with price starting at 15.99 lakh. Now back to the video. Have you ever sat and imagined what would the state of our country be like if we didn't have the armed forces? It's not just external conflict and terrorist attacks. The army also plays a very crucial role in maintaining the balance of power within a nation, basically creating an equilibrium of power among states. In the absence of strong military, a power vacuum is likely to emerge, which can result
Facts.
in utter chaos and instability. We could have civil wars. Just like without a strong foundation, a building would collapse under the pressure of natural disasters and external forces. Without a strong military, a nation would be vulnerable to invasions and internal conflicts. That is
Facts.
why investment in the modernization of forces, equipping them with the best-in-class equipment, right from the boot of a soldier to bulletproof jacket to helmet to weapons, is absolutely imperative. The thing is, the average man forgets. We forget about these soldiers and their sacrifice because we fail to recognize that the reason we are safe today, leading these super comfortable lives, living in our houses with no fear of someone attacking us, is because of them. It's
Yes.
because they are out there in the cold, alert,
Yes.
day in, day out, risking their lives, not worried about their safety, just for us. And I don't say this for the sake of saying it. My own father served in the army for 20 years, so I've seen it
Wow.
with my own eyes.
That's
They
incredible.
truly do put nation and duty above everybody else. You know,
Yes.
I still remember I was around 4 years old, I think, and my dad was going on leave. When one night, one of our unit ka soldier bhaiyas, they came home to my dad and they're like, "Saab, aapki chutti cancel ho gayi hai. Kargil war has started and you have to leave immediately." He had a duty towards the nation, right? So he left, and he left me and my mom, who was pregnant with my little sister that time. And
Wow.
we had no idea if he's gonna come back. And we didn't have mobiles back then. All we had was news, and all we saw was news of how people are losing their lives, how many soldiers' bodies have been carried back to the city. It was so scary. And months went by, my sister was finally about to be born, and my dad was still not back. And you know, he had sent us these letters saying, "I don't know if I'll make it back, but name my daughter Lychee and tell her dad named her that if I don't return to tell her myself.
I can't, cause y'all not about to do this to me. Y'all, I'm not getting emotional right now, bro. That's sad. But that legit, you have to be so thankful and appreciative to the members who serve in the military. Like, it is legit an incredible thing that they are doing. The things that they are sacrificing are nothing short of admirable, or nothing short of amazing. And also, always love to thank the families of those who serve, because like you can hear, like, her dad just had to leave, wife pregnant with her little sister. They sacrifice too. Him leaving their home, right? They sacrifice. They sit there and worry about their father or about their husband coming back home. That they deserve as much of it, not I guess as much, but they deserve a huge thank you as well as the person who is serving. Man, just take the time to never take for granted those who are willing to serve in the army, who are willing to sacrifice time away from their loved ones, who are willing to sacrifice their lives if the situation calls for it, so that you and me and everyone can also have like the lives that we live, that we can have, so that we can have the freedoms that we have. Never take it for granted.
Daughter Lychee and tell her dad named her that if I don't return to tell her myself. So Lychee was finally born on 7th July, and a week later we found out that my dad was severely injured because of a mine blast at Kargil war and was being flown down to Srinagar. I was too young to understand what was happening, but it was havoc, right? He was literally in hospital for 1 whole month, and after that he was brought back to Agra, and that's when he finally got to see his daughter, like after a whole month. Think about it. Nobody wants to be in such a situation. Nobody wants to be so far away from their family. And it didn't end here. After this, again, my dad was posted away for 2 years around Jammu and Kashmir, while me, my sister and my mom stayed away. And it's not just about him. The whole Indian Armed Forces sacrifice a lot so people like you and I can be safe. We just want to salute them and pay an ode to each and every one of them. They're the true heroes, and their sacrifice and efforts will never ever be forgotten. So let's all take a moment to honor these brave Indian Army soldiers and their courage and dedication.
For real, for real. I loved watching that video because that was something that was beautiful. And she experienced that with her dad serving. She knows what it's like for the family that gets left behind. It's not easy worrying and then being over there. I'm sure you're doing it to protect your country, to protect all the people in your country, to protect the freedoms, to protect their lives. But you're also worried about your family as well. So you guys, I'm telling you, you got to be so appreciative, have the utmost respect for thanks for those who serve. Let me know how you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out that next one. And I'll see you guys next time.